Without further ado, today's presenter is Neighborhood Food Network, and they're a pilot program under Moms Across America, which is a registered 501c3. And Neighborhood Food Network is very new, but their mission is to invite, inspire, and excite neighbors to grow and source food locally, creating food security one street at a time, which is an ambitious mission. So I'm sure we're all interested in hearing about that, and I feel help me in welcoming Zen Honeycutt. We'll get the presentation started.
Thank you, Sean and Erica, and all of you for your time and attention today. Really appreciate it. As he said, my name is Zen Honeycutt, and yes, that is my real name. My brother's name is Dow, my sister's is Chi, my parents were married in the 60s. So I am, let me just back up a little bit. So I'm the founding executive director of Moms Across America, and this is our new pilot program creating community, health, preparedness, and national food security, one street at a time. And before I get into that, I want to give you a little background on Moms Across America and our journey up to creating the national, Neighborhood Food Network. So I'm a mom, and like millions of mothers and parents out there, I struggle with my children's health issues, allergies, autism symptoms, autoimmune issues, asthma. And I looked into it. You know, there's a saying that goes, a worried mom does better research than the FBI. Well, I became one of those moms, and I learned about genetically modified foods in our food system and pesticides and herbicides. And I found that that was a problem. So I initiated the first event was joining into 4th of July parades back in 2013. I launched a website and a Facebook page, and within 4 months we had a reach on Facebook of over 300,000 a week. And we had 179 groups join into parades in 37 states. And we now have a reach, we had over 1,000 events in the first 5 years that our moms started all across the country. And we have a reach of 500,000 to 1 million per month on social media, and we've been featured in 12 international documentaries and on every mainstream media network. We've had 100 million impressions on social media in the past 10 years. And the thing that I'm most proud of is that our moms and supporters are 3 times more engaged than groups that are 3 times larger than ours. And that is primarily because they see a difference. They see when their children eat organic, they get better, which is what I saw in my family. My kids about 99% better from all their health issues. So we've also expanded to mothers across the world. I'm very happy to have a very strong partnership in Japan and South Korea and many other countries. And this is the reason why, because genetically modified foods, no matter how you feel about them, are not labeled in our food system, and they're in 85% of our processed foods. If you want to find out about the 3 different types of GMOs, which are either genetically engineered to be a pesticide, to resist herbicides, or to have a desired trait like growing 4 times faster, and being sterile, like GMO fish. If you want to find out more about that, you can go to momsacrossamerica.org on our data page. And the main one, 80% of GMOs are engineered to withstand glyphosate. And glyphosate is the main chemical ingredient in Roundup. And the problem is it doesn't wash, dry, or cook off. So it's sprayed directly on GMO crops, all weeds die. It's also sprayed as a drying agent on wheat and peas and beans and legumes if they're not organic. So we are consuming them daily. And the main problem with glyphosate is that it functions as an antibiotic, meaning that it destroys beneficial gut bacteria and promotes pathogenic gut bacteria. I thought I had 10 minutes, no? Not 6 minutes? Just checking. Okay. All right, so it destroys beneficial gut bacteria. It's a chelator, causing problems with nutrient deficiency and cellular dysfunction. It's also a reproductive effector, damages sperm and reproductive organs. And it's been found in many, many different foods all across the country. Moms Across America actually initiated the first glyphosate testing. We found it in my son's urine, tap water, breast milk, sanitary products, beer, wine, and orange juice. And it's being found in 62% of conventional foods, 69% of non-GMO, and 21% of organic, pointing to actual fraud in organic food. Very low, numbers of organic is contaminated, but the amounts are much lower than conventional, but it is there. So this is the summary. Our food supply is toxic and killing us, making us sterile. It's increasingly short supply, dependent on distant and foreign sources. It's not regulated for safety. Prices are going up, and the government can control many of the systems. So we propose, what is a solution? We propose that for people to grow by and eat organic, and mostly know your farmer. That's why we put organically grown at the top. The other certifications are great, but as you see, that there can be some contamination. So most important is to know your farmer. Okay. And there has been progress. General Mills is no longer allowing glyphosate to be sprayed on some of their crops. Oats and barley mills are segregating or not allowing it. Citrus growers, yay, orange juice, they're recommending they do not use glyphosate. And the Canadian wheat growers as well. And we are transforming the food industry. There's lots of numbers here you can see. Basically, 82% of US households are now buying some organic regularly. So, and glyphosate levels do drop quickly. So if you eat organic, it makes a difference. Within 6 days, levels drop by 70%. Yeah. And however, government policy is just taking way too long, right? So we propose taking matters into our own hands. And that is the Neighborhood Food Network. This is creating a parallel food system. It's inspired by the Neighborhood Crime Watch program, where people get together on their street and are educated to prevent crime. This is to create local food security. And how it works is somebody like you decides to facilitate the Neighborhood Food Network on your street through in-person gatherings. You can also do social media, but in-person gatherings are suggested to invite, inspire, and excite neighbors to grow food locally or to source food locally. If you're not into growing, you can do that as well. And sponsors and partners should also be involved here. We offer services weekly, Monday night calls, where we have gardening experts on, resources for planning, planting, preserving, and pest control, and support in having local meetings on your street. Seasonal support with flyers, data, and actions. And this is just an example on our website of some of the planning that we have available, how much space you need to grow. Here is a harvest tracker. Let's see. Okay, here's a harvest tracker tool where you can add up how much money you're saving, which is really handy. And also, forward or backward? Okay. Oh, and this is a monthly planting reminder by garden zone. So with one click in your garden zone, our garden zone is 7, you can add reminders, event reminders to your calendar of what needs to be done that month. And the benefits of the Neighborhood Food Network are building community. You're not going to care if somebody's a Republican or a Democrat if they're bringing you food, and vice versa. And health, you're avoiding you're opting out of the whole toxic GMO food system. Preparedness, you will have food in times of crisis. It's kind of like you don't want the plane to crash, but you know that there's a cushion there. You know there's oxygen there. You know there's an exit, right? So we need to have a safe plan in case there is a crisis. That's how I see it with the garden. Reduce violence. It only takes 9 missed meals for somebody to resort to violence to feed their family. So in times of crisis, if there's a power outage, that's 3 days, folks. You don't want to be enemies or have your neighbors be enemies. You want to be in partnership with them. And so this is a really good idea for that reason. Also, financial resilience. I believe that the decisions about your survival, should be not made on Wall Street, but made on your street. So we call it getting street fed. And hope you join the Neighborhood Food Network. And here's some of the outcomes of our pilot program. The pilot program launched in May of 2000 this year. We've had 253 people sign up, and this is not launching at major, this is just with some of our core volunteers. 145 facilitators in 36 states have signed up, and the report groups of 6 to 46 people joining up within a few days. Meeting new neighbors, excitement, fun, and connection. People are really excited about this. One of our people has this 3 times this week. She is going and either gathering raspberries, peaches, or something else, like tomatoes, and canning and processing them. So she's meeting her neighbors and learning new skills, which is awesome. And so the challenges: funding for staffing, of course, nonprofit restrictions on promoting products, just getting the word out there. But we are planning on launching the main program in February of 2023. Looking for funding for 8 regional garden zone experts and things like that. And our goal is to support 10,000 facilitators. That's 200 per state if we have, the staffing and team for that. And the numbers are very feasible based on our past experience. Now, currently our revenue is donation only. As we're a nonprofit, but we are looking to possibly separate out and have the Neighborhood Food Network be, a for-profit or something like that. So I'm looking for some support and counseling on that. Also, the possibilities for revenue are ad revenue, expert coaching fees, premium membership fees, and perhaps you have some other ideas. So we're seeking regional experts, team partners, people that may want us to be on the main core team. If we separate out, I need a new board, obviously, for that one. Counseling on the switching over potentially, and investors. So the market, there's over 19,000 incorporated cities, towns, and villages. 14,000 of them have populations below 5,000. I think that's more of the core target. And the garden and supply market is $30 billion with a 5.9% annual growth rate. And if we have the 10,000 facilitators, that's going to be a $75 million increase in the first year alone. If we project out to 3 years, 4% increase due to the Neighborhood Food Network could be $1.2 billion in growth in garden sales. So we think we have some potential partners that might be interested in this. We don't have them yet. These are proposed partners. The garden supplies, seed supplies, fertilizer companies, hardware companies. We'd love to connect with Nextdoor. We've already connected with Food Forest and Farmish. These are apps and Food Forest people. So we've got a lot of people interested and share partners that we'll share once we're fully launched. And so if you'd like to contact, did I see the slide? No. Okay. If you would like to connect with me and plant a seed of success, please contact me at Moms Across America. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zen. Who has any questions on the desk?
Yes.
I do. What's the nonprofit restriction on promoting products? What's that?
Well, so it has to be educational. You have to be very careful. You have to be very careful that it doesn't come off as marketing because you're a nonprofit. It has to be definitely educational. So.
Yeah, that's not exactly not. I have a marketing agency. We market products for nonprofits all the time. As long as the nonprofit status is just a tax status, and so they don't care if they're selling products or not.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I've been warned repeatedly by our numbers guy that it can't come off, like for instance, we have a couple weed killer people that we're promoting, and he said you have to promote multiple ones, not just one, because you're a nonprofit and it can't come across.
That's not true.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I coach nonprofits quite often, and so you've got a mission statement. As long as what you're doing is, in conformance with your mission statement, you should be fine with IRS. But just make sure, take a look at taxes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let you guys use the mic just so we can hear on the recording, so I know it's in full support of this.
On that same topic, the Restore, which is part of Asheville Area Habitat for Humanity and Habitat for Humanities across the country, is a great example of social enterprise that plow the profits back into the nonprofit.
So I guess I agree. I've talked to you a number of times, and you're smart, you know what you're talking about. And this is a great idea. One of my questions is, could you die from growth? Because when I look at what you're doing, you're talking about something, right wrong, you hit a nerve. You really do hit a nerve. So could you literally grow to the point you actually fail? And have you really thought about how you scale?
Sure. I see that I may not be the one to be the spokesperson for this. There might be somebody out there that has more experience with this type of growth and some other type of team. So I'm totally fine with it needs to evolve. I'm not attached to me being the one. It might even be better in some cases where I am not the one presenting because Moms Across America has touched upon some very controversial topics. So that's why I see that separating out Neighborhood Food Network might be a better idea. And the way that I see it sort of maybe growing too much beyond our capacity is that it could just take a life of its own on. Like the Neighborhood Crime Watch, there's different programs like that, and it has taken off. And but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to grow beyond what I'm capable of, for sure. Yeah. Yes.
Hi, Joseph McElroy. Now, being recently from an urban area, there's a grassroots movement called about food justice that in some ways overlaps with what you're doing. Are you in contact, or are you working with them?
I have not contacted them. I will mark them down as somebody to connect with. Thank you.
Are you a member of 1% of the Planet?
No, we are not.
So you mentioned one of the things that you're looking for
I
is,
think we applied to them before, but yes, I think.
so it's a really, really good way for you to not do a ton of work and get money because people all over the country will see you as so the company I own is a member of 1% of the Planet. I'm a for-profit, so I have to donate to 1% of the Planet nonprofits. And so people will just give you checks. And it's a great way for you to have, it's kind of like it's just a good thing to do. It's good for you because you'll get funding and you don't even have to work very hard for it. So,
That's great, and I think it's great just for the Neighborhood Food Network. We can sign that up on its own entity.
I was going to ask this Neighborhood Food Network a 501c3 as well?
It's a program under our 501c3.
Okay, 'cause that does
so we
have
need
to
to separate it out. Yeah.
1% of the Planet will require that there's environmental aspects of your business. Obviously, I was looking at this thinking how much plastic is wasted by food consumption, grocery shopping, and that is enough by itself. So, that would be an angle you could use to easily be accepted into the 1% of the Planet program.
Can I ask you or anybody else, do you see this continuing on as a nonprofit, or do you think that this is more like leans more towards a for-profit? Does anybody have any feedback on that? A nonprofit? Okay, because I prefer to get this information away for free versus charging for it.
You can do that as a for-profit or a nonprofit. Again, it's just a tax status, so how you choose to run the business doesn't matter whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit.
Okay.
Actually, that's not true.
Well,
Please, go ahead. I'll get you guys, don't worry.
Just along the lines of what you guys were talking about, I'm based in Fort Lauderdale, don't judge because I'm from Florida. I get a lot of that. But there is quite a few grants that are, like the Knight Foundation is based, well, it's not based in Fort Lauderdale, but they fund organizations like yours. And even though they may not be here, you mentioned that you have other branches around the country, and they basically their whole purpose is to bring community together for the betterment of mankind. And one of my friends has a program called Women of Tomorrow, and they funded her for 3 different cities, $5 million for the first 5 years, and but you only qualify if you are a nonprofit.
Okay.
And along the lines of what she was mentioning is you can do both. You can have your nonprofit for grants and some of those different things that make you more eligible for that, but you can also have a for-profit division for other things as well. So just a thought.
Okay, great. So Knight
Foundation.
and Food Justice. Great.
You're next, sir.
Great. Thank you.
Hey Zen,
Hi.
thank you for this.
Thank
This
you.
is great. I don't know anything about nonprofits.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. So
okay.
mine is totally not related to that. I'm curious about the software platform you're using to do all this. I know you showed a tool that set up some reminders. Is there like a centralized software platform, or is it just a bunch of different kind of third-party things put together?
I wish my husband came. He's the tech person. So that was set up through Google Docs, and then I don't know what the back end was. It begins with a Z. Is the back end of our website.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
First, I want to thank you for your tomato pie recipe the other night.
For what's that?
Tomato pie you posted, I think.
Oh, it was a recipe. Yeah, the tomato sauce recipe. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I have my goodies from my garden that I just picked this morning out here. Please enjoy them, and a garden frittata with lots of herbs in it. So please have it.
You might want to partner with La Leche League
Oh,
because they work with new moms before they give birth, and they have 4 different educational things they went through, how they latch, one of them is healthy food for your family. So it would be a great, kind of partner thing to have to.
That's a really good point. We're partnered with the Holistic Moms Network, but I haven't partnered with the Let's League yet, so that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you all for your patience with the Gimpy foot.
Yeah, 2 things. First of all, profit versus nonprofit. You really have to make this a strategic decision on how you're going to fund yourself. I mean, for example, You mentioned grants. Grants are available for nonprofits. There are a lot of grants out there for this type of thing. For-profits, NCIDEA that we talked to last week is one of the few that I know of, and that's only $600,000 per year for the whole state. So that's really a small amount of money. Whereas grants, there's quite a few grants out there for this type of thing. Also, you think about your donors. You know, if I donate $1,000 to you as a nonprofit, that's tax deductible. If I donate $1,000 to you as a for-profit, it's not deductible at all. So I think you would have, you need to think about your funding, strategy, whereas a for-profit, you're really focused on selling a product or service and making money for your stockholders. So that's a real fundamental difference. If you have B Corps that you might take a look at, which are kind of a compromise between the two. But also you want to check into bountiful cities here in Nashville. I think we have 5 or so community gardens that are all organized by bountiful cities, and they do a lot of work here in Nashville. So you definitely want to check those guys out.
Thank you so much.
You sir. No, I thought there were a couple in the front. Who else has questions?
It's not really a question, it's a comment.
Comments are welcome.
Thank you, this is such a great program. Now, do you know about B-City USA and then, of course, ASAP? B-City USA is partnered with Xerces now, and they make sure that they're pollinators across America. It's sort of like Tree City USA, so it might be an interesting tie-in with those people. It's slightly related. And then ASAP through here is great because they set up that whole program in town about local food and all of that, and they might have some insight too. And Charlie and I think it's Emily, they are no longer, they're retired. I bet they would love to do that, so you might want to talk to them.
Charlie from ASAP.
Yeah, Jackson, Charlie Jackson.
That's
He's no longer with
And
us.
this is being recorded.
I was just going to reference, anyone wants to reference on this, we'll get this posted.
Okay, great.
Great, I'm gonna take notes for you.
Hey there, Ryan, this is awesome. I would be shocked if there was a ton of grant money to do something like this. I'm really sad if there wasn't a ton of grant money. Shoot, my question's gone. I'll come back.
Well, to answer that, there is, like, the USDA has just put out, like, $3 billion or something like that to fund food being, to increase access to food into communities. And then when I went for the program that would fit with this, it was like $20,000. And we need more than $20,000. So I've got that's also something I need. I need a really good grant writer who can maybe help apply for that grant for 1,000 cities, right? And if we could get $20,000 for 1,000 cities, that's a whole different ballgame. So there is a whole lot of money available through USDA programs, but I need professional grant. I mean, they want to collect a lot of data too. That's the other problem. I don't think our people want their data collected, so that's a challenge.
Yeah, that actually was going to be my question. Somebody answered it, but it would be cool, obviously, it's an opt-in thing, to see kind of health data before and after, right? What that would look like. But, you get people starting eating more organic food and kind of tracking their progress, so what benefits come out of it would be a good selling point as you grow.
Yeah, that would be great. We have probably 500 testimonials from moms and thousands more comments that their kids' health got better when they ate organic. So it would be good to sort of check in with people before and after too. Thank you.
I'm going to just interject one as well. North Carolina State has a Master Gardening program, and Buncombe County has it
Yes.
right there. So that would be one to check.
Thank you.
So I have a seed planting idea / question, and so something that I've struggled with for a while is how difficult and unattainable it is for many people to purchase organic products because of the price. And so I've actually thought, why is there not a non-profit grocery store who sells only organic food, where their goal is not profit? So I bought broccoli yesterday, 2 bundles for $9.50, which it's really, really hard for most people, and it's hard for me to, I was very upset when I went to the cash register. And so I was like, man, someone really needs to, so this is just a planned idea. You're like 70% of the way, I would say, there with that idea already because of the community that you built. So anyway, it was just more of like an idea that
Thank you, for people who have excess, they could have some sort of central hub for selling it,
Yeah.
Right now, they're doing just trading, which I didn't expect, so I have to add that into the presentation. They're doing a lot of swapping and trading, which is really exciting.
You might consider also linking up with food co-ops in general. I know there's an African food co-op here that has its own storefront, but when I was a young mom, I started up a co-op because the Nishnawbe Valley truck delivered to my area. Sometimes people would run them out of churches, and like everybody worked to split the food, and you could get wholesale food prices and produce as well. But for me, I charged 10% for people to buy from me, and I did my little orders, and we break down the orders in my living room. But it's a great way to access when you can't usually pay for the prices of food in a health food store or something like that, to access local food, and it's often a low bar entry.
Yeah, we would like to have a Zero Standard be one of our partners. Have you heard of them? The AZURE Standard. Yeah, they have drop-off points, and I'm not sure if the person gets money or not for that too, but they have excellent organic foods and whole foods.
Any other questions or comments?
One, just a suggestion. Are you working with any media that just happened to see right in front of us, one of the news reporters is doing a huge report on, it's like a series of how herself and her newborn had all these different illnesses, so she decided to do what you're doing, and she's been doing like a 5-part series or however many parts, where basically she was talking about what you eat and how it can change some of these different illnesses, and it would be great to get someone like that to glorify you. I don't know who that is in Asheville, but I know one in Fort Lauderdale, so if you make your way down there, I'm sure that information.
Okay, great. I have my business card out on the table here too, or you can talk to me after as well. Thank you all for the great suggestions and comments. I really appreciate it.
One more quick question, addressing this issue of food co-op, I'm just wondering how it applies to urban dwellers who don't have land, and this idea of tying in the churches or some not-for-profit for